Good morning, welcome along. Today is Friday the 21st of April 2023. This is your 8 a.m. movement snack, so your first one of the day. When we start to get things going, we start to get ourselves geared up and ready to take on whatever it is the day has to throw at us, really, whatever that may be. It could be a bit of work outside, it could be a bit of a walk, it could be the shopping, all those sorts of things. For me, it's work, and it's raining, it's horrible, it's chucking it down out there. So it might be a quick run from the car park into the building, and then a quick run from there over to the other building I've got to go to later as well. See you later, darling. Have a good day. Welcome. Say hello as you come on board. Let me know you're here. Let us know that we're sharing a little bit of time together. It is a Friday morning. This is your 8 a.m. movement snack. So it's about mobilisation. It's about getting the body prepared for whatever it is the day has got to bring for us, whatever that might be. So we're looking at getting the joints moving. We're looking at boosting the circulation. We're looking about mobilising all those joints that we're going to use during the day. And as you know, we start at the top, we work our way down. We go top, middle and bottom. But before we do any of that, we do a bit of a circulation boost and we start at the bottom and work our way up. So that's what it's all about. Say hello as you come on board. I can see Maya is with us. So good morning, Maya. Good to have you with us. I think we've got, is that Adil I can see who's in as well? Yeah, good morning, Adil. I think we've got Carol as well who is with us. So say hello as you come on board, folks. Let me know you're here, and we're going to be sharing a little bit of time together before we head off on whatever it is our day is going to bring us. Margaret Wood, good morning. Oh, not Margaret Wood, sorry, Margaret Hamilton. Good morning to you. And good morning to Sheila Day, who's joining us as well. Welcome, everybody. This is our 8 a.m. movement snack. As I say, it is raining here. It's chucking it down. I think it's been chucking down most of the night. We'll see if it cheers up, but it's supposed to be turning a little bit yucky for the next couple of days here anyway. So we'll see what happens. Maddie Stanger, good morning to you. It's ready where you are a lot as well. I think it's going to be a bit of a common theme, shall we say. Certainly around the centre part of the country. We'll see what it is. What's it doing up in Cruden Bay for us, George? Had to switch me off and on again just to find me. There you go. A bit like a computer. Have you turned it off and turned it on again? Have you turned it off and turned it on again? That'll fix it. Vivian Dickinson, good morning to you. Good morning to Margaret Hamilton again, who's still, well, you've been in already once, Margaret, haven't you? Not good morning, but it's sunny in York. That's it. Pack your bags, everyone. We're heading up to York. We'll reconvene in about 3 hours, all right? Gillian, good morning to you, Gillian Matthews, in from a cloudy Port Talbot. So not raining yet, but it's cloudy. And George is filling us with glee. It's still bright sunshine up in Cruden Bay. Carol Elliott, good morning to you. Hope it does stop raining. Off shopping today on my bike. Yeah, you definitely want it to stop raining then, don't you? Beautiful and sunny in Inverkip for Maya. And Margaret Wood is telling me that it's damp and overcast in Chesterfield. Let's see what's going to go on then, eh? Oh, Carol Elliott's in, so the collective is in the house. Oh, we will whoosh, ping time. So if you want to lose the comments off the bottom of the screen, please feel free to do so. I'm just going to say hello to Christine Perry, who's just popped up as well, before I do that, though. So comments off the bottom of the screen, we'll have our whoosh, ping. Oh, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome along, or even good morning, everybody. Welcome along. This is your 8 a.m. movement snack. It's me, Dave Montgomery from Later Life Training. Welcome. This is our 8 a.m. movement snack, which is all about mobilisation and circulation boosting. So let's get on with it, shall we? I'll stop my babbling. We'll get on with it. Are we going to do it in standing or seated? That's our first choice. I've still got myself turned around because we've still got the doll's house down here. But Yvette has gone to school now, and she's at her mum's for the weekend, so it'll be tidy up time in a moment. So, in our standing position or in our seated position. In standing, we've got some fixed external support. Here's mine, look. It's imaginary. It's a Harry Potter version of support. It's there. And this is my chair. So I'm using a lounge chair today, but normally we would use a strong, sturdy dining room type chair. It's better, obviously, because there's a bit more support in it. So Posture-wise, whether we're in standing or seated, it's the same. All we need to do in seated firstly is bring ourselves into that front third of the chair. So we've got the legs clear, the knees are clear of the front of the chair so we can utilise them, all right? Posture-wise, we start with heels in line with knees in line with hips. We lift and lengthen to grow that little bit taller between our ribs and our hips. And then from there, shoulders come up, back, and we press them down. Excuse me. We're ready then to start into our circulation boosting. So from here, we can start with a heel raise, lifting the heel off the floor, coming up onto the ball of the foot, just starting to get some movement happening into that ankle area. It's not about going fast, it's about keeping a regular flowing paced movement. And then we can start to make it a little bit bigger by bringing the foot clear of the floor. It doesn't have to come too far off. And then we can take it up another level by bringing it so that we actually start to point the toes down towards the floor. Remembering, as always, in seated, we've got that option to come back in to that heel raise or a tap of the toes coming diagonally forward rather than just straight forward. Keeping those feet moving, let's pop an arm in, driving the elbow backwards. And if we are using support, we've got our hand on it, otherwise there's no point in having it there. So, hand on, and the other hand is doing the marching movement. To swap, hand comes down before the other hand comes off. If you're not using support, you can just change hands, and in seated, you can just change hands. Now, if your support's to the side, it's slightly different. You lose the arm, march becomes a little bit smaller. We take as many steps as we need to turn into the support. Both hands are on. And then as you continue to turn, you can take the other hand off, and then bring the march back in with the arm on that other side. And then finally, in seated and in standing, if we're not using support, we've got the opportunity to use both hands, both legs, bigger movement, lots more happening. About 2 minutes is what we're looking for this. Just getting everything going. Feel yourself breathing a little bit harder perhaps, or a little bit heavier. Feel your heart beating a little bit faster. That's what it's about. It's about warming the engine that is our body up, ready to do whatever it is we're going to do. So if we've been sat down for a while and we're off to do some gardening, good idea to have a little bit of a circulation boost before you go and do that. Now as you come to your 2 minutes, start to bring it back down again. So lose the arms. Make the march a little bit smaller, bring it back into that heel raise, and then into a pause. And we're ready to move into our mobilisations. As always, as I said, we start at the top, we go to the middle, and we take it down to the bottom. Head and shoulders to start off with. Exactly the same move in seated as it is in standing. Keep the neck lengthened, eye line level, and we're going to lift the shoulders up towards the ears and then press them back down. Trying to come back past where we started rather than just to the starting position. So lifting and then pressing down. And you're looking at about 4 or 5 of these, straight up, straight down. And then once you've done your 4 or 5, so a momentary pause and then rotate. So bring the shoulders forward firstly, up towards the ears, back past those earlobes, squeezing the shoulder blades together as you bring it down. Slow and controlled so we can get the best range of motion. We want to try and take it as big as we can and use every single part of the shoulder. Once you've done your 4 or 5, we're going to come to a pause again and we're going to take it into our head turns. Now here, take the feet a little bit wider, just outside of our hips. Again, we're going to keep the eye line level, we're going to keep the neck lengthened, and we turn the head to the side, pause in the centre, and then turn it the other way. Now again, have your support available, because if you do feel any dizziness or disorientation, you can pop your hand down, and that should help you regain that confidence again, regain that feeling of not being dizzy or disorientated. This slow, controlled move to each side. Try and bring the chin over towards the shoulder, but keeping that eye line level. So it is a rotation, we're not tilting forward or backwards. Now, once you've done your 4 or 5 there, take a pause and let's take it into the back of the head. So we're going to restack the head onto the top of the shoulders and top of the neck, spine, okay? Chin stays here, eye line stays level, which means we're going to give ourselves another chin, and that's fine, fingers on, all right? There's option 1, here's option 2. So you can either keep the fingers where they are on the chin, or you can leave the fingers as a guide to where you started. But you see how we're keeping the eye line level, so we give ourselves this extra chin. We're not tipping the head back and we're not tipping it forward. We're lining down through into the spine. So we're getting that neck in line with the top part of our spine into the chest area, and lining everything up. Now, once you've done 4 or 5 of those, have a pause and we're into another little reboost of that circulation. Feet only this time, and we're looking at 30 seconds. So into this march, into the heel raise if you prefer, or in seated if your hips are a little bit, you're feeling a little bit of fatigue into those hip flexors. 30 seconds just to give the body a bit of a reboost, and we're going to come from this top part down into our trunk. Now let's think about the number of times we move our back and we twist and turn during the day. We don't ever think about it, do we? We reach down to pick something up, we turn to talk to somebody, or putting that seatbelt on, all those sorts of activities. That's where the trunk's involved, so that's why we're going to mobilise into there. Now as you come to your 30 seconds, bring it back down, reset your base of support to a little bit wider, and do exactly the same in the seat. Take that base of support a little bit wider. First movement is straight down to the side, back up. If you're using support in front, you change every time. If it's to the side, you come into the support, back into the centre. You do your 4 or 5 that way, and then you turn to change into your support. In seated, sitting tall, still straight down, straight up, but your bottom stays firmly on that chair. So in standing, we didn't lift the feet off the floor. So in seated, we don't lift the bottom off the chair. We keep that bottom firmly on that seat. And let it give us some feedback. If we feel the buttock lifting, then we know what we're actually doing is leaning rather than lengthening and reaching. We want to feel a lengthening down through the side of the body here. So as I come down, I can feel this side of the body lengthening. I'm not leaning the body across. 4 or 5 on each side of those. Okay, and once you've done your 4 or 5, just change that angle slightly. Once you've done your 4 or 5, we're going to go into our trunk twist. Now let's have a look at this in seated firstly. So in seated, I've got the bottom firmly on the chair. The weight is even across the butt cheeks, across our buttocks, and there I go. We've got the turn to the side, the pause in the centre, and then the rotation the other way. In standing, it's about keeping these hips still. So really make sure your knees soften. That will help with it. Okay, and there's that rotation. Here's the pause, and away we go again. Now again, if your support's to the side, it's into one side and change. However, if you feel your hips are moving, use your support, pop your bottom against it or your hips against it, and then allow that to tell you whether the hips are moving. If it's behind, if you feel the bottom lifting away from it, I know I've exaggerated a bit there, but that's going to tell you you've got movement. If it's in front and you feel your hip moving away from it, that's going to tell you here's moving and this is where we want it. That may mean that that movement becomes a little bit smaller, but that doesn't matter because it becomes more effective because it's more focused to where we want it, into that trunk area. Now, 4 or 5 on each way, and as I say, if you're doing it with side support, you go into your support firstly and stay going that way, 4 or 5 on that side and then turn. If your hands are in front, then you're changing hands every time, just like we did with those side bends. Once you've done your 4 or 5, have a pause. We're heading into back extension. Now here, it's about the pelvis staying still. So here what we're going to do, soften those knees, lift the chest, and then extend, keeping the pelvis still. So what we're not doing is tipping that pelvis. We're keeping everything still. Now again, you might benefit from some sensory support. So you might want to put your hips against your support or your bottom against the support, because once more in seated, I can now feel through this movement here if the weight is changing. So if the weight's moving from my bottom and my hips, the top part of my back and my thigh, and I can feel how that's shifting from more to one than the other, then that's going to tell me that actually I've got some leaning going on there. I'm not doing the lift and the extension. So again, it might mean that the move becomes a little bit smaller, but once more it becomes more effective because it's targeted right where we want it. We want it into the lower back. If you have any lower back pain, this is really going to feel good into that area. Now, once you've done your 4 or 5 of those, have a pause. We're back into another circulation booster, but it's upper body only this time. Driving the elbows backwards, getting a big movement, and we can start to make it a little bit bigger, reaching through, getting rotation into that chest area if you want to. Now, if you're in seated and standing is not where you're looking to go to, it's not on your radar, opportunity here to go over one of the head and shoulders or one of the trunk movements again. Alternatively, let's move into our ankle, feet and toes as we bring this to a pause and set up for the ankles. Now, standing firstly, have some support available so you can focus all your effort into getting a good movement. It's about the toe going on the floor and then lifting, putting the heel in the same place, or the other way around, but it's the heel and toe into the same place. The supporting leg, the knee is soft, and if you use support, then you're not focusing on your balance. You want to take your eye line level, but you might want to start here to see what's happening. So toe on, lift and place the heel in the same place. And you've got the opportunity while the heel's down to splay the toes. As you bring it over, scrunch them and then point them down. Once you've done 4 or 5 on one side, turn to the other, and away you go. Seated. We can do that move, we just need to readjust those legs. So we've got the room to be able to get that in. What we were trying to avoid is this sort of movement where we've got a seesaw movement happening. We want that position to be exactly the same for heel and toe. So we're really getting that good positioning in. So you might find it a little bit easier to arch on back a little bit into your chair, extend the leg out, bring the foot off the floor, about 1 inch or 2 inches, that's all. So if I come here, look, can you see how it's just off the floor, about 1 inch or 2 inches. There's the equivalent of the toe being on the floor, and as I bring the toes in towards the shin, that's the equivalent of the heel being on the floor. Again, scrunch your toes here, splay them here. And if you need to, pop it down and have a rest between every one or every couple. Doesn't matter how many. 4 or 5 on one side and then change the other. And don't allow that leg to drift up. It's not about strength, it's about getting that movement into the ankle. So keep it low and really focus into that ankle joint. 4 or 5 on each side, as I say. Now in standing, we can have a look at that, can't we? Here's that, there's that heel toe action in effect. If we really emphasize our walk, heel toe strike, there's the heel rolling through onto the ball of the foot and I'm coming onto my toe on the other side. That's why we mobilise. It helps keep us steady and stable, allowing those ankles to react to the floor underneath us. That is your 8 AM movement snack for this Friday morning. Have a great day, stay active, stay mobile, keep crowbarring in additional activities as well. And I'll be back with you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Have a great one, everybody. Toodles.